impossible situation, when God steps in, and when He does, nothing stays the way it was. Not the diagnosis, not the circumstance, not the closed door, not the broken relationship. When everything changes, this is that moment. Yeah. The disciples watched the storm and couldn't see a way. The tomb had been sealed for days without a sound. And every situation that looked permanently finished was the exact same kind of place where God was found. Stepping in, not when the odds were favorable, not when the outcome seemed already guaranteed, but in the dead and darkest, in the most impossible, when God steps in, that's when everything is free. Hey! Not gradually, when God steps in, everything changes. Not partially, but partially, when God steps in, everything changes. Hey, the atmosphere shifts when He enters the situation. When God steps in, hey, everything changes. Nothing stays the same. When God steps in, everything changes. At the sound of His name, every atmosphere that ever opened, settled in it. When God steps in, everything changes. From the minute He decides to intervene in what looks permanent and done, when God steps in, everything changes. Who was watching for the ending gets a different kind of story. God steps in, everything changes, and the glory goes to the one who changed it. Oh, when God steps in, yeah. Same God who split the sea in two for Israel is the same God who is present in your situation now. And what looked like the ending was the setup for the step in it that nobody could have anticipated. When and how He would move, but He moved and everything changed. When God steps in, everything changes. Water to wine. When God steps in, everything changes. Yours and mine. When God steps in, everything changes. Even now, He's stepping in right now. When God steps in, everything changes. He's stepping in right now. Oh, when God steps in, everything changes. And nothing stays. When God steps in, everything changes. And His name, when God steps in, God steps in, everything changes. He's stepping in right now. Oh, when God steps in, everything changes. Always, always, always. God steps in, everything changes. Always. When God steps in, everything changes. Oh, I had written the end myself in advance. I had already accepted the conclusion I could see. But God has this way of taking the pen back mid-chapter, writing what no human plot could ever be. For the story I was reading as defeat and as conclusion had a chapter that my version hadn't planned. He changed the whole story. That's the testimony. He changed the whole story by His hand. Not edited. He changed the whole story. Not revised. He changed the whole story. Took the pen back in the middle of the darkest chapter. He changed the whole story. Rewrote the ever after. He changed the whole story. I thought I knew the ending. He changed the whole story. And the bending of the narrative towards something I had never seen. He changed the whole story. Past where I had been, so certain of the outcome, I stopped believing otherwise. He changed the whole story. And I realized that the author holds the pen past every chapter I could write. He changed the whole story. And tonight I'm living in the rewrite. He changed the whole story. Joseph read his story as the pit and then the prison, as the forgotten and the years that seemed to disappear. But the author of the story was assembled in the palace. He changed the whole story in the tear that Joseph shed when he revealed himself to his brothers was the hero of the one who finally understood. He changed the whole story. What was meant for evil, changed the whole story into good. He changed the whole story, not revised. He changed the whole story. Took the pen back in the middle of the darkest chapter. He changed the whole story. Rewrote the ever after. He changed the whole story. I thought I knew the ending. He changed the whole story. And the bending of the narrative towards something I had never seen. He changed the whole story. That's where I had been, so certain of the outcome, I stopped believing otherwise. He changed the whole story. And I realized that the author holds the pen past every chapter I could write. He changed the whole story. And tonight I'm living in the rewrite. He changed the whole story. From the pit, he changed the whole story. From the prison, he changed the whole story. From the conclusion I had written, he changed it. He changed the whole story. When God stepped in, the story you've been reading isn't the final draft. He changed the whole story. Joseph's pit wasn't the ending. Lazarus' tomb wasn't the ending. Your situation isn't the ending. He changes the whole story. When he steps in, he's stepping in right now. He changed the whole story. I thought I knew the end. He changed the whole story. The rewrite is real. Change the whole story. When God stepped in, he changed the whole story. Always, 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 he changed the whole story. There's a difference in every room that he walks into. A shift that isn't manufactured by the program or the plan. The heaviness that's settled in the place before the entering begins to lift the moment he steps in and takes command. Not because the circumstances outside changed immediately, but because the presence that arrived changed everything within. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. That's the testimony of every room that welcomed him. It's different from within. Before he speaks, the atmosphere shifts when he enters. Before he acts, the atmosphere shifts when he enters. The presence itself is the change that precedes the miracle. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. It's biblical. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Every room. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Through the gloom of what was settled and established by the enemy. The atmosphere shifts when he enters, and I see the evidence in every sight that welcomes his arrival. The atmosphere shifts when he enters, and survival becomes revival when the presence fills the place. The atmosphere shifts when he enters, and the space is never the same again. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. And the foundation shook around them, and the earthquake wasn't the point. The presence was. For the atmosphere of worship in the darkest midnight prison made the prison into something that it never was. A place of transformation and of unexpected meeting. The atmosphere shifts when he enters through the praise. The atmosphere shifts when he enters through the raise. The atmosphere shifts when he enters the voice in the darkest and the most unlikely of locations. Before he speaks, the atmosphere shifts when he enters. Before he acts, the atmosphere shifts when he enters. The presence itself is the change that precedes the miracle. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. It's biblical. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Every room. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Through the gloom of what was settled and established by the enemy. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. And I see the evidence in every state that welcomes his arrival. The atmosphere shifts when he enters, and survival becomes revival when the presence fills the place. The atmosphere shifts when again. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. In the prison. In the prison. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. In the storm. The atmosphere shifts. The atmosphere shifts. Right now. The atmosphere shifts. When God steps in. The atmosphere shifts. Oh, God. When God steps in, the atmosphere shifts. You don't have to change the circumstances first. Let him enter. The presence itself is the change. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Invite him into your situation right now. Watch what shifts. Every room. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Every room. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. Always, always. The atmosphere shifts when he enters. It doesn't take a strategy or an elaborate plan. It doesn't take the cooperation of the circumstance. One word from God is all it's ever taken to turn the whole impossibility around. One chance, one spoken word over the darkness in Genesis. And what was void and formless found its shape. One word from God, that's the pattern of the scripture. One word from God, and nothing can escape the transformation that a single word of his produces. Not a speech, one word from God. Not a strategy, one word from God. The creative power of the spoken word of heaven. One word from God, and everything is given access to a different outcome than before. One word from God, and the dead came back to life. One word from God, and the end became the stars. One word from God is what I'm asking for today. One word from God, let it have its way over everything that's been assembled to oppose me. One word from God, and I know He can change it in this and what it's taking years to build. One word from God, every purpose will be filled at the sound of His voice. One word from God. He spoke to the wind and the waves, and they obeyed Him. He spoke to the fig tree, and it withered at the root. He spoke to the tomb of Lazarus, and the dead man walked out living. One word from God produces all the fruit of transformation that I've been reaching for. One word from God, that's the only thing I need. One word from God changes everything. In Genesis, He spoke and light appeared. At the tomb, He spoke and Lazarus walked out. On the sea, He spoke and the storm obeyed. One word from God. Ask for it today. One word from God is all your situation needs. Acts 16. Suddenly there was a great earthquake. Acts 2. Suddenly a sound like a rushing wind. And the pattern of the suddenly in Scripture is the pattern of how God has always stepped in. Not gradually building from a magical beginning, but the sudden and the unexpected, and now suddenly, that's the word that changes everything. Suddenly, God steps in and doesn't show me how. He'll do it before He does it. Just suddenly, not gradually, suddenly, not predictably, suddenly. The God who operates in the sudden and the unexpected. Suddenly, and everything is redirected. Suddenly, the prison shook and chains fell off. Suddenly, the Red Sea parted and the crossing caused nothing, because God handled it in one dramatic moment. Suddenly, and I am the comment of the testimony of suddenly approaching. Suddenly, and I have been coaching my faith to expect the sudden and the unexpected move. Suddenly, when God steps in, He'll prove that nothing takes too long. So long. Suddenly, I've been waiting in the gradually and the slow for what God has already scheduled as a suddenly, and I'm repositioning my expectation for the sudden. For the God I serve doesn't always move incrementally. Sometimes He moves in one dramatic intervention, and the situation is no more. Suddenly, and what was closed is open, and what was shut is now a door wide open, and I'm walking through it suddenly, not gradually, not predictably. The God who operates in the sudden and the unexpected. Suddenly, and everything is redirected. Suddenly, the prison shook and chains fell off. Suddenly, the Red Sea parted and the crossing caused nothing, because God handled it in one dramatic moment. Suddenly, and I am the comment of the testimony of the suddenly approaching. Suddenly, and I have been coaching my faith to expect the sudden and the unexpected move. Suddenly, when God steps in, He'll prove that nothing takes too long. Suddenly, at midnight, suddenly, the truth. Suddenly, in my situation, suddenly, when God steps in, suddenly everything changes. Suddenly, slowly, suddenly, 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 always, always. Acts 16:26. Suddenly there was a great earthquake. Acts 2:2. Suddenly a sound like a rushing wind. God moved suddenly. Suddenly, maybe one moment away. One conversation, one phone call, one morning. Suddenly, when God steps in, everything changes. Expect a suddenly. Suddenly, the prison shook and chains fell off. Suddenly, when God steps in, suddenly, everything changed. Oh. Suddenly, always, always. Suddenly, suddenly. I'm not going to pretend the impossible is easy. I'm not going to dress it up in language it doesn't deserve. For the middle of impossible is genuinely difficult, and the faith that holds through it takes everything in reserve. But I found that the impossible is where God specializes. That the middle of what can't be done is where He shows. In the middle of impossible, He steps in. In the middle of impossible, He knows exactly what He's doing with what